Awesome. Good. We're going live. Awesome. Good. We're going live.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. I got the sound good. All right. Hello, everyone in Facebook world. This is Eric Sue with Healthy Living with Eric Sue, and I have a guest with us today. His name is Dr. Vic Manzo, and we'll be talking about some health and wellness topics. Let me just do this intro here. Let me just pull this up. All right. You ready to go, Dr. Vic?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Good. So this is for the recording. In 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, Eric Sue here. Welcome to another episode of Healthy Living with Eric Sue. We have a super cool chiropractor with us today. His name is Dr. Vic Manzo. We'll be talking about 5 things to obtain optimal wellness. So without any delay, let me introduce you all to Dr. Vic. Dr. Vic, are you ready to make it happen?
Yes, I am. Thanks for having me, Eric.
Awesome. Dr. Vic Manzo is the leading authority in inspiring individuals to discover their potential. He is a pediatric family wellness chiropractor located in downtown Grange, Illinois. He has been awarded Best Under 40 by Shaw Media in 2016, Business Leader of the Year in 2015 by West Suburban Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Best Chiropractor in LaGrange, Illinois from 2013 to 2016. Dr. Vic's vision is to help each individual discover their God-given potential via mind, body, and spirit. He utilizes this through chiropractic care, holistic lifestyle advice, customized nutrition, and mindfulness. Dr. Vic, that was just a little bit about who you are. Can you share with us a little bit more on how you got started?
I got started based on my own, personal journey at 19. Had a lot of issues. I played rugby at the time. Was in great shape. I could physically. I had a lot. Just everything was going well there, and I ate pretty good for the most part. But I just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and it was like I'm a 19-year-old guy. I'm in great shape. This doesn't seem right, right? You're kind of trained exercise and nutrition is health, and that's what I thought, until all of a sudden, it took me like another year of suffering, I should say, as things continue to add on. And then I looked, and I finally went to a chiropractor I went to when I was a kid. And ever since then, I never turned away. It was amazing how in like 3 months, all my symptoms were gone. Digestive issues and headaches and muscle aches and pain, depression a little bit, anxiety a little, and not there anymore in 3 months. I'm going, this is kind of freaky. We haven't done anything different except just this. And then from that moment on, my passion for health just skyrocketed, and this is what I wanted to do and who I wanted to become.
Awesome. Great story. Before we dive into our topic today, I wanted to ask you this fun question my audience loves to hear the answer to, and that's, what's one cool or unique fact about yourself?
Nice. So I never got a chance to learn music growing up. Never took advantage of it, I should say. But one cool fact is I love to cook. One of my man crush Mondays, if you want to call it that, is Gordon Ramsay. So I love learning from him and just picking up as much as I can. It's my art and way I can express myself to the world in that fashion. I guess being Italian, learning since I was 6, that's where it came from. And ever since then, it's a way to get away. If I'm not in a great mood, I'll just get into the kitchen and just let loose and see whatever comes up.
Awesome. Everyone wants to know, what was the last meal you made?
The last meal I made, I just had eggs, kale with eggs. So something simple. It was lunchtime.
Oh, yeah. Keep it simple, I guess, is the idea, right? Or do you keep it somewhat complicated /
No, I like to keep it simple during the week, at least. During the weekends, I'll go a little crazy and just do whatever comes. Like I like to take typical recipes or things I grew up in, like being Italian, so like pizza, right? I like to take that and how can I switch it into a paleo pizza? And then how can I perfect it so I can get it somewhat as close? I know it won't be the same, but how close can I get that?
Awesome. Very good. We're going to be over for dinner soon, right?
Anytime.
Awesome. So we talked a little bit, and we came to this topic of 5 things for optimal wellness. or to obtain optimal wellness. How do you describe optimal wellness to people, and what are the 5 things?
So, I love the first question. How do you obtain optimal wellness? And just to take it from there, it's living your full human potential. Just basic as that. What are things that can allow you to live to be the potential of who you are as a human being? And so the 5 things, when we look at health, again, like I said earlier, we look at nutrition, we look at exercise, what's the newest fad that's out there. And really, in my world, being a chiropractor, why not look at function first, right? Why not look at how is your body functioning? How are you adapting or handling your stresses that you deal with on a daily basis? Is it a positive response or is it a negative response? Is your body shutting down or not shutting down? Those are things that play a role. And that's what really was a wake-up call for me at 19, 20 years old, where I was explained that. And I was explained that, hey, your body's just not adapting well to your stresses. It's not thriving, it's surviving. It's trying to sacrifice as much as it can. So this is where chiropractic comes in as number 1. Because from there, then you have, your nutrition. It's what you eat. What are you taking into your body? What fuel are you giving your body? What raw materials are you giving your cells so they can recreate and create a healthier body and a healthier you? Then we look into, exercise. I mean, movement, motion's life. We know that it's a coined term that just keeps on being expressed. But not only importantly, exercise, it's just getting movement. Just move. Take a walk for 30 days. Something as simple as that. The next one is mindset, and it's harmony within yourself and with your environment. In our world in chiropractic, we know that 80% of people's stress when they're dealing with things is mental, emotional. And the more we become cerebral, or we're in our heads more and more with technology and the way we're living our lives nowadays, the more that heightens up and that percentage goes up. And then the last but not least is kind of obvious. If you don't recharge your batteries, how are you going to function throughout the day? And that's sleep. Yeah. So it's those 5 things that really bring wellness together. And the way I like to explain it and how I explain it to some of my patients is just visualize a wheel, right? The spokes of the wheel really is the nutrition, the exercise, the sleep, and the being in harmony with your mind and body and your environment. Chiropractic is the middle centerpiece that pulls all those factors together. And then together, all 5 of those act as a unit. And as you circle in life, taking the ride in life, the more you have of those, the more you can have a more enjoyable ride.
I was going to ask you, some people may have misconceptions about chiropractic work. What could you say about your style?
Gotcha. Yeah, great question. A lot of people think chiropractic's for back pain, neck pain, and headaches. I mean, that's what the media portrays us as. That's what we're kind of pushed as. And really, the way I kind of like to explain it is, if you're going to go ahead and use chiropractic just for that, it's like going to get an iPhone just to use the calculator function. You're really missing out on what it really does. My approach is really just chiropractic straightforward. And what that is and what that means is, your body has an ability to heal itself. Okay, it self-organizes, self-regulates, and self-heals. And the thing is, what are we looking at for me and that as a chiropractor? When I see a patient, I'm trying to see what are the things that the body just is having a little bit of a difficulty trying to heal. And we look at the nervous system, and that's what I approach everything with. And so, even though the body is a self-healing mechanism, there's something called the limitation of matter. Your body can only handle so much stress at a given point of time before it goes in that survival state. And then from there, that's where I come in and I look and see what are the things that we can do to remove that interference, something in what we call in chiropractic a subluxation, which is a very long, fancy word. And to keep it simple, as I tell my patients the same thing, just think of subluxation as stress. But really, what it really is it's an interference in your nervous system. It starts to distort communication, either coming into the body and going up to the brain, and then from there, it'll start to interfere with the communication to the cells, tissues, and organs. And that's a functional component. So we're looking at that. So that's the essence of what I do and what I look for. But when we find the subluxation, we remove it, then we're allowing you, the individual, to be more of the human potential of what it is. We're taking you to another level. You can think of it as like an upgrade to your cell phone. That's, once you upgrade your cell phone to new software, then all of a sudden it's functioning a little better. It's got rid of some bugs, and now it can, see whatever it may be. Well, an adjustment's just like that. We're upgrading your body and your systems and everything, your brain, to be able to handle life and stress more often.
Yeah. What do you say to someone? I'm just thinking of some people who have this fear of going to a chiropractor only because they fear what they will do to the person's body and stuff. Is it a very safe modality?
Hands down, yes. There's a lot of things that the news has thrown out there. I know a couple months ago, it's about 6 months now. They had some about stroke and things like that. And, we have that in our office to educate our patients of what the real science and research is. But I will be straightforward. There's a risk in anything you do. Go take a step outside. There's risk to that, looking at that. But when you compare the risk to like taking non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs, right? Research shows those kill 100,000 people a year. Chiropractic's not even close to that. I mean, the research we had, it's anywhere from like, any incident that may happen is like 1 in every 5 million and some odd, adjustments. And the thing is, you're never going to get that many in your lifetime. But looking at that perspective, no, it's extremely safe, gentle. Especially, chiropractors have a lot of different techniques. In my office, I use a very light force technique. So there's no, people think cracking of the neck, which is more of just an adjustment of the cervical spine with your hands. But I don't do that primarily. I use instruments, less force on me, less force on the patient. And we're still getting the great results that chiropractic provides.
Awesome. You mentioned the exercise actually and movement. What kind of recommendations do you have for someone you're treating?
So it depends on where they're at. I mean, we do x-rays in our office, so we look at, corrective exercise. We want to stabilize the posture as best as possible, break down some of those deficiencies that they may have. But then it's all about movement, wherever they're at. It's all individual care. So if it's someone who's in their 60s and they never really worked out much in their life, I'm going to recommend walking every day. If it's someone who's in their 20s or 30s and they're ready they've worked out here and there and they're ready to take on some things, I'll give them recommendations. Things like high intensity interval training, which I'm a big fan of. Those types of things. How can you biohack the body to get the results you want? But making sure it's functional, and I think that's the biggest key. Yeah. Whatever I recommend, no matter age, walking or whatever, I want to make sure that they're moving and being functional. Walking is a very functional component because you're still cross-crawling in the brain. You're stimulating both sides, and that's what is essential. I'll have them do other things to enhance if they can't do a lot of that, but really individual care. But the thing is to be functional in movement. Yeah. Make it. There's a guy I follow, and he always talks about make it be intentional, not habitual. And I love that statement because we work out, and we become very habitual in our workouts, but it's not intentional. What's the purpose? That's kind of what I kind of dive into.
I have a few clients who have issues, their hips, their back, and so forth. Obviously, get that checked out to prevent future injuries. Is what you do, could you help them with those issues?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just look at every sports team out there that you see, any sports athlete. I mean, Tom Brady, who won the Super Bowl, he's been under chiropractic care for years. These guys do it not to just have peak performance, to be the best that they can. It's also prevent injuries. I mean, my era, being a Jordan era for the Bulls, when John Stockton used to play, the Utah Jazz had a chiropractor. And long story short, that season, when they were getting adjusted by this chiropractor, which was kind of rare back then, they noticed, now don't quote me on the number, I don't have it exactly down, but it was either like 52 injuries only or missing games they have because of injuries, or 62, where the NBA average was like 150.
Wow. So really preventing injuries. And, people who have injuries now, the first thing they should do is go get checked by a chiropractor? Or
Yeah, look at function first. I mean, that's where it all comes down to. If you have an injury that, it depends on what the injury was, but at the end of the day, it's function. How are you functioning? If you have an injury, this can go two ways, so there can be an argument out of that. But long story short, if it's just something you're doing on a daily basis, there's no like direct force to something, hey, you have a functional issue already.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's always a good idea to get checked.
Yes.
Sure, absolutely.
I highly recommend that.
Awesome. A third component you said was eating or nutrition, right?
Yep.
What could you tell somebody who's struggling with that? What would you advise?
So when I work with patients with nutrition and it comes to food, it depends on what they're dealing with. What are they working with? I mean, a lot of people like weight loss. I mean, that's just, some people are like, I can't lose weight. I'm trying everything I used to. It doesn't work. And so what I do is I kind of look at what are the basics that we need to do to restore the body, again, back to getting it to its natural state. And so we'll look at like possibly doing a food diary. That's the first thing I'll do because I need to know what's going on. I mean, I could throw diets all day long at people, but it's not really to benefit them. So once we do a food diary, then I have an idea of what they're consuming. I can give them heads up on some things, but I never tell them to remove things primarily. What I recommend when it comes to nutrition is add something first that's positive. My one mentors that I follow, they always talk about, let's say you like pizza. And I've done this with a lot of patients before. They're like, I have pizza. I got to have my pizza. Okay, that's great. Eat your pizza. And they just look at me like, what? I'm like, yeah, eat your pizza. I have no problem with that. And they get a little puzzled by it. But then I tell them, here's the rule. And they go, I knew there was something behind this. And I go, just have a salad, a nice sized big salad before you have your pizza. That's all I ask. I've had a patient who likes having a beer, not every day, but, good amount. And I said, I'm not going to tell you that beer is bad for you. You're wise enough. You know what to do and not do. But how about this? Whatever, if you're going to have a pint of beer, drink a pint of water before you have your beer. And when you give time, 2, 3, 4, 6 months down the road, what ends up happening is they're not doing it anymore. I kind of limited it down even more because now what you're doing is you're adding good. And it's kind of like, and the mentality is kind of like when you go in a dark, when you want to light up a dark room, you don't try to take darkness out of the room. You just turn on the light. So when it comes to nutrition, chiropractic, exercise, all these things, it's just, hey, how do we turn on the light so that we can remove the darkness? How can we add more good foods for their health so that it's going to eventually detoxify the body, cleanse the body, and not want to have those as much?
Right. That's an awesome analogy. I love it. We're going to use that one today.
Oh, awesome. No, yeah.
Today. So what could people do besides adding to help them, maybe they have a craving or something, or sugar addiction or something. What could they do with those situations?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Yeah. So I do a lot of what I recommend to patients when we work with sugar and it, more or less it's a hormonal issue than it is more of the sugar itself. And so I work with patients with things like intermittent fasting where they don't eat for like 16 hours. I work with them though and build them up to it. So like sometimes I'll just be like, hey, you know what? Let's just do 3 meals a day, max out whatever you want to eat for that day when you eat, so that we can just try to somewhat calm down the cravings as much. Because if I just had someone fast or go paleo-like, it's not going to be a fun process. No. So how much can we limit that for them so then we can say, okay, now that you're kind of got the hang of this a little bit, let's go ahead and let's try 16 hours of no eating. That includes sleep, by the way. And then we'll have a meal. This is what we're going to do next. We're going to have a meal like this, so that we don't mess with sugar levels or hormone levels at all. So we're going to try to regulate the body back to where it needs to be. And, people who like to get that quick fix, this usually isn't the quick fix, but what we're doing is trying to help the body restore itself back to its natural state.
Wow, that's really a good reminder for a lot of people, and I guess a new tactic as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can Google fasting and the benefits of it, and or intermittent fasting for that matter. There's so many different types of fasting, and you'll see a gazillion positive remarks about that. I mean, this is what we used to do back in the day.
Awesome. I think you can always share some more about that topic, and people will tell people how to get a hold of you later on. But let's move on to the other one, which is your mindset. I think you said, right?
Yeah, this is a big one. So mindfulness, I work with a lot of patients when it comes to things in mindfulness. How do I help bring the mind? How do I help you to connect back to you, the essence of who you really are? And what I mean by that is try to clarify for people. It's not like you see around you, but who's the one inside observing who's seeing? That's the you I'm trying to connect you back to. So there are things when I work with patients, I have technology in my office that can allow me to see how their lifestyle is and where are they at neurologically, everything. We can see it all. And if you're in a very survival, gas pedal mode, drive, go on the go, burning up resources, you're putting yourself in a weakened state. And it's very disconnected. So what we do is I recommend things like guided meditation. I just want people to sit and listen to someone talk. Simple. I keep it simple. I don't like to, there's a lot of different meditation techniques out there. I like to use those because it just helps them, focus on someone and what they're saying, and that's it. A lot of other things we recommend in the mindfulness part is also breath work. We don't breathe properly anymore. I mean, we don't get enough oxygen as it is, and the earth is already declining in oxygen. So it's kind of like, take some deep breaths, just breathe into the stomach a little bit. Even if they just do that 5 times a day, that's a beneficial. But I do some special type of breathing called Wim Hof breathing. Wim Hof, the Iceman, as they call him. So I follow a lot of his stuff, and I recommend it to my patients. I teach them how to do it, and something I do every single day. So you got the guided meditation. We got the breath work. There's also things that I work with, and maybe affirmations. If they're just stuck in this thinking, well, how do we change that? I was talking to a patient a couple of days ago, and he's been with me for a couple months, and he's like, I've been dealing with more stress in my life these last 3 months than I have probably in the last 20 years. And he's like, he was crediting chiropractic, and I was helping him. But then he's like, what else can I do? Because I go, do you still have stinking thinking? He's like, yeah, I catch myself in these ruts. I can't get out. I said, let's reprogram the mind, right? So affirmations are great for that. You got to claim, you got to choose what is it that you want to achieve and have or do, be in this essence. But I also, just to give a tip to all your listeners here too, if you ever want to reprogram your subconscious mind, because that's the tape that plays 95% of the time all day in your head, do an affirmation the moment you wake up and right before you go to sleep. It's one of the easiest ways to program the subconscious mind. It takes, 30 to 90 days, give or take, to really get it ingrained. But hey, easy way to do that. So then you can change that tape a little bit and start shifting to more of what it is you want. Yeah. So I kind of work on a very individual level with my patients when it comes to this. But these are some of the tools I'll pull and use from, visualization. Those are some things. Sometimes I tell my patients, go make a vision board for me or for yourself and have fun with it. Be a kid again. Yeah. Sometimes I tell them gratitude, journaling. So I use a lot of these tools to help a person become more centered. So then what we're doing is we're not allowing all the distractions of life get to us, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, and allowing all that to get to us. And instead, they're more in control of their life, and they're not responding and getting over, anxiety or overriding, stimulating the nervous system and things like that.
Yeah, so powerful. Self-development, personal development, whatever you want to call it, so powerful. It's so core to everything, right? And so
it's massively and it's amazing once you get like for me, when I see patients start to follow that and start to shift that way, it's like all of a sudden the adjustments hold a little longer, and then they get results that are even faster. And I'm just like, and again, the cool thing about chiropractic when you're working with it is that there's no end to it. There's no like, here's where I'm going to go. I've been getting adjusted for 14 plus years. And I'll tell you, my first adjustment to my last 1,000 plus adjustment, it's been different every time, but it's always moving me up and up and up.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So there's this sleep thing, huh? What is sleep all about?
Yeah, I wish, right? There's some people, there was stuff I was reading, I can't remember the number, insomnia. People who have insomnia now, it's just skyrocketing like crazy. It's important. It's standard information. Get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. But one of the things I teach patients is to create a ritual before you go to bed. See, it's all about reprogramming. How do you trick the mind or get the mind to start to shift to get ready for sleep? We don't do that as much anymore. We're more like nowadays we're on the computer, we're on our phone, we're doing something, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh yeah, time for bed. Let me jump in the bed. You're not going to sleep well. You're going to rest, but you're not restoring your body. Mm. So it's taking 30 minutes, give or take, just unwind, read something positive, affirmation. The other thing is, don't watch anything that's with blue light for an hour, at least 2 hours before going to bed. I don't have them with me right here. I should have showed them. I have these big orange glasses that I wear when I get home. Oh, okay. It blocks all blue light so that my brain, I'm not stimulating parts of my brain to have me be able to make it harder to get into that restorative sleep. So I'll use that as a cheat, if you want to call it, so I can sleep better.
And how many hours is sort of the recommendation now? I've heard many different numbers, but 5, 6, 8, 9.
I'll tell you what I tell my patients is that, I sleep around 6.5 hours. It works for me. If I go 7.5, 8, I just can't get up. I just go 7.5, 8. I just don't like, my body just feels too tired. I always say find your remedy that works for you. Back in the day, I used to have a thing I would put on my head. It read my brain waves, and I could find out my formula. Unfortunately, that company's out of business, and I'm so aggravated that they are because I'm a big promoter of it. But anyhow, so they don't have that. So what I tell patients now is just figure out what works best for you, because there are people who need 8.5 hours of sleep. There are some that only need 6.5. But it's what works for you. That's what matters most.
All right. So is the condition or the environment someone's in matter for sleep?
Yeah, big time. Massively. I mean, and let me just like environment. Do you mean as like
dark rooms, no light rooms?
Exactly. Yes. Blackout. We have black curtains, so it blocks all the light when it comes in. You want to sleep in pitch black. I do a workshop where I talk about sleep and how to hack it. And I always say that, there's two hormones in the brain, melatonin and serotonin. And I always teach them that serotonin, S for sun, right? That's what wakes you up in the morning. You want the sun. You want that blue light. You want to get woken up. M is melatonin. That's the moon. That's nighttime. So the more darkness you get, the better. So that's a big one when it comes to that. But there's other things too, like no sound whatsoever. Keep your phone away. Put it 6 feet, 10 feet. Put it on the other side of the room. Put it in another room if you have to. Yeah. Some people look at me when I say that, they go, I use that for my alarm clock. I'm like, so do I. Mine's in the other room most of the time. So when I have to get up, I can't hit snooze. So I have to get up. Yeah. Another thing too is a tip, and for environment's sake, keep the temperature of your room around 68 degrees, between 68 and 70. The reason being is when you sleep, the lowest the temperature body gets is around 68 to 70 degrees. Another little trick to hack the brain to say, oh, we're going to sleep. So people would take like hot showers at night and then they let themselves cool off a little bit. That's a way of tricking the brain. So you're changing the environment. So you're helping yourself give an opportunity. But yeah, things like that, electronics you don't want to have. They disrupt the brain and how your body's going to rest. You can try it for yourself. Keep your phone near you, like really close next to you, and go to sleep. And then take your phone and put it in another room and sleep another night. And take a journal and write and see what the difference may be.
Nice. That's an awesome tip. I think you're into a lot of hacks, aren't you?
I'm a big biohacker, man. I love trying to see, just how can you trick the nervous system so that you can, even my adjustment tricks the nervous system so I can look at new areas to adjust. So it's always looking at what angles can we use with the laws of the body so that we can get awesome results.
Great info. We have 5 topics or 5 areas that we talked about. How do you summarize it all for us, Dr. Vic? Great question.
When it comes to living at your best human potential, discovering what that really is, it's just straightforward as we went down the line with them. Get adjusted. I can't tell you how important that is. Sometimes it's your own experience. You have to see it for yourself. Start little bit with eating well. It's what you eat and drink. Drink more water. Get it reverse osmosis or something, but get clean water, good foods. Move, take a walk. If you have a significant other, make that a ritual at night. You get home at night, go take a nice walk. It's summer here in Chicago. It's a little chilly, but it's going to warm up. But those are things you can do. And then, take time for yourself when it comes to your mindset. Wake up in the morning and just share what you're appreciative about yourself and who you are. And just get some sleep. Yeah, don't sleep too much, but get what you need.
So valuable information. Practice it all. Maybe little by little, but practice it all. And,
yes.
How do people get a hold of you, Dr. Vic?
So you can get a hold of me. You can either you can visit my website, visit thewellnesspath.com. You can go there, and that's my practice website for all that information. You have all the ways to contact me there. You can contact me also on Facebook at just facebook.com, Dr. Vic Manzo Chiropractor. It's my professional page. I do a lot of my inspiration, health tips, and things like that on there. And then also speaking stuff that I started doing, it's also www.empoweryourreality.com. That's where I do some workshops. I go out and speak to corporations and different civic groups, associations, and so forth. So those are ways. Contact me on any of those. You can shoot an email through the websites or Facebook, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Well, make sure we get those all in the show notes so that you can all look it up. And I think that's it. I really appreciate your time, Dr. Vic, and we got this done, and it was fun. Hope you had a good time.
This was awesome. Thanks for having me, Eric.
All right, well, to let you go. Have a good day.
You too, brother.